Welcome back to the Loser Island. I'm your host, Simon Quay, and I have a very, very, very special guest, model.
Annabella, Joy.
Thank you for coming on the show.
You're so very welcome.
I really appreciate it. So tell the people how we know each other.
So we met through our high school. We both graduated from Alchemist High School.
Shout out the Wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you model, right?
I do model, yes. I'm signed in LA and Miami.
So how did you get into a thing like modeling?
So it actually all started during quarantine for me. I made a TikTok and I got scouted from there.
From TikTok, really?
I did get scouted from TikTok, yeah.
Did that one get a lot of views?
I wouldn't say it got a lot of views. It had about 10K views, so nothing like insane,
but still
just
amount.
enough to get like.
Yeah. So when that person was recruiting you, did you think it was like a scam at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally thought it was a scam.
How did you know it was legit?
Well, I don't even remember. It was probably around like 3 years ago. I thought it was a scam because it's like, oh, like send me your measurements and like this and that. I'm like, they want to see me in a bikini, like no. And so I just kind of like let it sit for a little bit. But she kept reaching out, and I was like, okay, like either this is real or it's fake. So I just sent her the stuff that she wanted. Nothing was like insane. Like it wasn't super provocative or anything like that. It was literally just like my measurements and digitals, and I sent them to her. And then we scheduled a Zoom meeting, and that's when I was like, okay, like this is legit. So I talked to my agent Janessa and my other agent Dawn on a Zoom meeting, and then they sent me a contract.
So did you always see yourself modeling, doing pictures and stuff like that?
I never really thought about it too much. I used to joke around when I was in middle school. I'd be like, oh yeah, like I don't even need to do this because I'm going to be a Victoria's Secret model anyways.
Right.
So I used to say that to my teachers, and they'd be like, oh, okay, whatever you say, Bella. But then
next thing you know.
Yeah. So I always like joked about it, but I never thought that I was actually going to like go into it at all.
Yeah. So were you like have any modeling experience before this, or was it just like jumping?
No, it was very much, I just jumped right into it. It was just the TikTok because I saw something on Instagram. Someone was like, oh, IMG scouting on TikTok now. I was like, I might as well make one. So see what happens.
So you said you go out to LA and Miami most of the time. So how did your family feel about that at first?
Well, I think it was a big transitional moment, especially for my mom. My dad moved out when he was 18 to go to New York City, so he was very just comfortable with the idea, like, well, if there's something you want to do, go do it. And my mom's like, no, you can't go. But I also went to LA by myself for 3 months when I was 17, and I think that was a lot, especially because I was a minor. But I'm going back for the rest of the year. But now I'm 18, so it's different.
That's cool. So when you just started out modeling, like what were some of your biggest insecurities, like being in front of the camera, and how did you get over that?
That is a great question. I think I've always had more of like an outgoing personality, and it was never really an issue for me. Just getting like comfortable with like different types of posing, that was a little bit more time consuming, but I was never like uncomfortable because I've always done theater, and I've always been in choir, so I've always been performing, so it was actually kind of easy.
So you didn't have anything like you worried about, like not too big of a nose or mouth or ears or something like that?
I mean, everyone has like insecurities that they don't love about themselves, but I think having more pictures being taken of me, I get to see myself in like different lighting and different things, so I think I've became much more accepting of those insecurities as time has gone on.
So doing modeling, did you have like an inspiration, like a model that you looked up to, be like, oh, I would love to like meet her or be her?
Yeah, well, before I actually knew anything about modeling, I was always like, oh my gosh, Kendall Jenner.
Kendall
Jenner. And now she's not really the inspiration that I have. I would say Charlotte D'Alicio. I really like her. I listen to her podcast. She's really intelligent, but also her style is just kind of crazy. I like her a lot. So I'd say she's probably my inspiration right now.
So, wait, what type of modeling does she do? She does like normal modeling, or?
Yeah, so she does a little bit of everything. So like e-com, but also she's in the height range that like runway is also a thing. I think I'm a little too short for that, so I probably won't be in any like fashion week shows. Possibly like swim week, and that's in Miami, but we'll see.
Okay, well, I know every guy that's watching that's probably confused about what you just said. So probably explain like what is modeling in the essence of it? So like you're just showing up in people's clothes, right? And they're taking photos of you for like magazines and other stuff. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And there's other companies and like what other companies are there that does modeling?
So you have agents that represent models. It's the same thing with acting.
Okay.
So you get representation, and then they send you out to different castings and auditions. And then that's how you start building relationships with clients, and then you get hired for certain jobs, and then other clients see that, like, oh, you worked for this company.
Right.
You should work for us.
Okay.
That type of thing. So agencies don't necessarily equivalent to like work. It's just it's auditioning basically.
So how big is networking in the model game? How relevant is it?
That's a good question.
I don't want to jump in, but like, let's just say you're someone that you're more timid, you're not that more outgoing, you don't like to party. Could you still be successful in modeling?
Absolutely, yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. It just depends on your look and depends on how dedicated you are to getting the work that you want. Yeah. So like maintaining your like your physical health, mental and emotional health, like all of that, because it all plays into whether or not you're going to get work.
Okay, so how does someone that's not like a full-time model, that doesn't do this all the time, how can they like what's the work-life balance almost? Like how much work do they get compared to like how much free time do they have?
That's hard too. Well, it really depends on how established you are. So when you're first starting out, you're going to be spending most of your time going to castings and going to auditions and things. And then hopefully, just like acting, you get like your big break.
Right.
And then that one job will eventually launch you into doing bigger things and doing other things. But until that point, you're really maintaining like your physical health, basically.
Right.
So you're eating right, you're working out, you're just doing your best so that when you do get that audition, they'll see you and be like, okay, yeah, we can tell that she wants this and we can tell that she's been working on it.
Right. So you mentioned diet. Are you diet well too?
Well, I don't really believe in diets. I don't like diets. I've seen what they can do to people. And also the issue with diets is if you restrict your body from having certain things, then if you don't continue to do that, you will just fall right back into your same cycle, and then you won't be seeing the same results as you were when you're doing the diet. So it's either diet forever, or have better eating habits. So like, you know what makes your body feel good, you know what makes you look good, and then you just try to stick to those foods mostly. So I don't like restricting my diet.
Yeah, damn, I didn't even know that. Yeah. But other than modeling, like what other forms of entertainment could you see yourself doing, like acting or?
I would love to do acting. I think I'm going to start getting into it when I go back. I'm going to get a talent agent. One thing that I always thought would be hilarious and so fun to do would be stand-up. So I have like a few sets that I wrote just in case.
Really?
Yeah, just in case someone's like, does anyone want to tell a joke?
Can I hear a joke?
Oh, no. You may not. No, I'm not prepared for that.
So why acting? Like, what made you get into like stuff like that?
Well, I've always just loved performing, and I think the idea of like being someone else, yet you're not really being someone else because you're using your personal experiences to like funnel real emotion into something else. I feel like that'd be so cool. My dream role is to be the possessed girl in a horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So
could you see yourself being like Hollywood type of environment for acting, or would you want to be like more Broadway? If you had
if I had to pick, I think I'd probably pick film, just because Broadway's acting, dancing, and singing, and that's like, it's hard to be an amazing actor, amazing dancer, and amazing singer.
Trifecta.
Right. So I think just I'd take the easier route with movies.
It's a good choice. So take me back to like your favorite photo shoot and why it was your favorite.
Yeah, so obviously everyone remembers their first photo shoot, and that was very special to me because it was my first time, my first experience being shot in front of a camera, by a camera. And the outfits were so cute, the location was gorgeous, and I had a great experience. The photographer was super sweet. But I think my favorite shoot was probably the Detroit wedding magazine that I did in, I think it was last October. That was super fun. I got to try on like all these fancy dresses, and like the ring that I had on was like, it was like bigger than my finger basically. And they had 2 security guards for all the jewelry and stuff, and I was just like, I was like, this is fancy. And I was like, I'm so out of place here. And I loved it too because I would say that I'm kind of like, I don't know if goofy is the right word, but like I don't know. I'm just kind of childish in a way.
Yeah.
But then once I got behind the camera and I started like shooting the looks, like all the team, they were like telling me, they're like, you shoot so much older than you look, and like you just act like so much older. Like that's crazy. I was like, cool.
Would you say that was like when you really realized like, wow, I'm doing this like for real, like I'm a serious model now?
Well, I wouldn't say serious. Like I'm still getting there, but that was a serious experience, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
Different levels to it. What would you say? Kind of going back to like, how many years would you say would it take you to get to that point where you can be taken known as a serious model? Because how many years are you in?
Well, I would say discounting quarantine because there was no work going on then. So I've been doing it on and off for about 2 years.
Okay.
Almost 2 years.
So how many years would you say to someone that's like about to start off, like for them to be like, okay, you'll be like getting consistency at this year?
Well, consistency isn't necessarily guaranteed.
Right.
But I would say to anyone that is starting or trying to start that if you give yourself a solid like 2 years, something will happen for you.
Right.
Basically, if it's meant to happen, it will in 2 years' time. So.
So working at like photo shoots for the beginning, like were you intimidated by other girls at the set?
I was never really intimidated by photo shoots because when you're working on a set with another model, you end up like forming a connection with them because you're doing the same thing, and they're usually super receptive and nice, and it's great. But I did find myself to be intimidated when I was visiting my agency in Miami for the first time. I remember walking in and being like so scared and like nervous, like I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but there was these two women, gorgeous blonde, like 5'10", in bikinis, like taking digitals there, and I was like, I was like, what am I gonna do with it? And one of them gave me a dirty look, and I literally like crumbled inside. I was like,
you know why?
No.
She just looked at you like.
It was just kind of like, I was like, wow, okay, that was, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. But now I'm like, okay, no, if you're gonna act like that, whatever.
I'm used to it.
And then I ended up finding out that she had like 1 million followers on Instagram. Right, blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, so you are cooler than me. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I shouldn't even have looked at you. So,
so what are the type of typical things like every model agency is looking for?
That is also a hard question because it really just depends.
Okay, let's just like specify for like younger women.
Okay, well, there are certain divisions of modeling. So you have like runway, and for that, height is like one of the biggest things. Also, they're going to be looking for a unique look as well.
Right.
So strong facial features, like
strong
unique. Jawline. Yeah, well, strong jawline could be one of them, but like a solid bone structure, and just something like unique. Like nobody looks the same on like runway models. None of them look the same. Then you also have like your e-com, so that's going to be like your catalog modeling. And those girls tend to look more the same, but I don't want to like generalize that at all. Like modeling agencies are very different. No agency is the same. No agency is looking for the same exact thing.
Have you had anything sketchy going on while you're doing like a modeling shoot?
No, my agents are very on top of their stuff. Like they won't put their girls in a situation where they're working with sketchy clients or sketchy photographers. In fact, like my agents in LA are like, hey, before you work with a photographer, ask us. And so they have like lists of photographers they won't work with. So they really prioritize their girls' safety over like, oh, well, you could do a photo shoot. It's like, don't do it if you're going to put yourself in a dangerous situation.
So if you were ever like in LA and you had like, let's say you go out shopping with your friends and you have this bomb killer outfit that you want to like take pictures in, is like, do you have someone that like you would have to ask to get a photographer for, or do you already know photographers like that?
Well, do you mean like if I wanted to shoot a look?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to shoot a look, then I could hit up any like one of my photographers. Like not my photographers, but like networking, like you were saying. You meet people and you're like, oh hey, like you want to shoot this look? Like I have this idea. Or sometimes they will ask you like, I have this idea, would you want to do it with me? And that's when like you'd ask your agent, be like, hey, I'm gonna do this, is that like cool? Do you know this person? And most of the time they'll be like, oh yeah, like cool, like do it, whatever. But there will be like that 1 or 2 times where they're like, well, we've heard some things, like I'd suggest not to do it.
Okay, so kind of switching it up in a bit, you're in college now, your freshman year. So how is like the dating scene being a model? Well, do you tell people you're a model first of all?
Absolutely not.
No. So
No.
they just find out eventually.
Yeah, usually. It just ends up coming up at some point.
So does that get awkward sometimes, or are guys intimidated?
Well, I would say I get a lot more play in person. So like if I were to meet somebody, I'm like, oh, like he's cute, like whatever. We would totally hit it off because I'm an outgoing person, and like if they like me, I like them. It's like okay, cool. But like Instagram,
the DMs.
Instagram DMs, I get nothing. Literally nothing. Nobody like.
Really?
That's a little embarrassing.
Guys,
it's a little embarrassing.
I need to verify this. I don't know.
And I'll literally show you. Nobody hits me up on Instagram, and I think maybe it's the intimidation factor a little bit.
Yeah.
But I prefer to meet people in person anyways. So,
yeah. But has it happened before? Like some desperate guys like DMing you like, hey, hard eyes.
No.
No one famous either in the DMs too? Someone like with 20,000 followers is like, oh shit.
Well, I that doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Me too.
So how do you like balance doing college and going to modeling at the same time?
So that's a different kind of question, because originally I was going to be going to MSU in the spring, so I was going to take a semester off to go to LA, but given the fact that I'm not sure how well work is going to be going, I'm going to be taking classes online through LCC while I'm here. So I'm just going to get my gen ads out of the way and see if I want to stay there, if I want to come back. So
what would have to happen for you to be like, fuck school, I'm dropping out doing this?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not dropping out regardless. I will be getting a degree because I love learning and I just don't really know what I want to do yet. So doing gen eds while I'm doing this, I see no problem with that. But I don't see myself dropping out.
Even if you're making like $50K a month.
No, I could just do something that I don't need to make money for, like education.
We could always go back to education. But no, I respect that. That's
like
awesome.
An education major.
Oh, okay. Why, you want to be a teacher?
Well, I'm just saying. Never mind.
What type of guys are you attracted to?
I'm attracted to big, buff, rich, smart, sexy, race car drivers, astronauts, doctors,
Just the typical middle of the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is money a turnoff?
Is it a turnoff?
Like, what if that's their whole personality? Like, I'm really rich.
Ooh, but that's not. I mean, yes, that's a turnoff.
He'll spoil you with money, though. He'll be like, whatever you want in the store, I'll buy you.
That's okay. In a partner, like that's not. I mean, it's cool, I guess, but that's like, how are you going to spend time with somebody? Like if you can't make me laugh, if we can't have like a legitimate conversation, if you have no intelligence, like we can't really connect. So
what are some of your biggest turnoffs?
Biggest turnoffs?
Red flags.
Red flags. Well, a big red flag is the way that a guy talks about their ex. Mm-hmm. That's how you can tell. That's how you know. If it's bad, it's bad, and they're bad, and you shouldn't talk to them. But I think specifically for me, my turnoffs are guys who really have no goals. Like that's not like
they're just living.
Yeah, I mean, just living's cool. Like I'm just whatever. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So what about a guy, going back to the first one, what if they're talking shit about their ex because their ex cheated on them multiple times? Is that okay?
That's fine. Oh, get over it. Period. Get out of here. No, I'm just
Get over it.
No, it's just like, if a guy was seriously hurt by a woman, I can understand. But the way in which they talk about them, even still being cheated, that's important. Because you need to have, I don't know, a certain level of respect for somebody that you were with, even if you've been hurt by them.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, if you're talking shit, like, how are you talking shit? Are you calling them derogatory names and, like, just, yeah.
So exes, you gotta talk nice to the ex.
Yeah.
I can't be like, oh, fuck that bitch. She cheated on me 5 times. I took her to my parents. I bought her everything. And
okay, that's fine. At least you're not, like, saying...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. So, have you ever dated a male model?
I have, yeah.
You have? How did that go? Were you guys in the same agency too?
We were, yeah.
So that must get awkward,
We don't really see each other much at all, actually, so it's fine now.
Okay, but when you guys were together, were you guys doing shoots together too? Is that how you guys met?
Yeah, so he was actually shooting his first photo shoot. I was also shooting. It wasn't like a joint thing, but that's how I met him.
Okay.
And we never did any like professional photo shoots together. No.
That must be one power couple though, the model couple. Some beautiful children, but
I'm glad it did not come to that.
But dating a male model, I mean, he obviously must get attention from the ladies. Did that ever bother you?
No, not really. I'm pretty secure in myself, and I would like to say that if I'm in a relationship, I'm also secure in that as well. But I don't know. It's just if he were to have entertained it, I think I would have an issue. But just girls being interested, that doesn't bother me.
So entertaining, I feel like there's different types of entertaining. So like online, social media, responding to a DM, is that entertaining it? If the girl DMs him first, he's not.
If a girl DMs him and he's like, "Thanks, cool,"
right.
I don't care. But it's like if she would be like, "Well, we should hang out sometime," and he's like, "Well, yeah, like when are you free?" That would have been an issue.
Okay, what about if he's at the club, right, and he's with his homies, it's a boys' night out, and a girl starts twerking on him? Is that too much?
Well, if I'm there.
You're not there.
If I'm not there and I don't know about it, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Okay, but if he did know about it and he didn't tell you, would you be a little annoyed?
Probably not. Because I feel like dancing's different, you know? Because I love dancing. If some girl would have danced on him, whatever.
Right.
If he didn't feel the need to be like, hey, you know, that's a little too much. If he didn't feel that way, then why would I care, you know?
That's a good way of looking at it, a very mature way. So, going more into guys, what's your biggest problem, aka us, biggest problem you have with our generation of guys, Gen Z?
That's, I don't know. I really haven't thought about it all that much because I feel like you have relationships with people and you start to like, the more people that you are around, you start to be like, oh, well, I like this. Oh, I don't like this. And then you just kind of store all that information for like the next time you start to talk to somebody. So I don't think there's like one thing that I'm like, I don't like this.
Well, like, think of all your exes real quick, and is there one common trait that they all had where you've been like, okay, like I saw this in guys before, I'm gonna make sure I don't see this in the next guy?
Just being a criminal.
Criminal?
Yeah,
what?
you know, I'm not really into criminals. You know?
Okay, bad boys.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You want the good guy.
Not necessarily the good guy. Like, I don't need you to be super sweet all the time. Like, I don't need like the nice guy either.
Right. You heard it here first. Nice guys finish last.
That's not what I said.
They finish second to last. Sorry.
No, they finish like second, and then they move up to first.
They're the first loser.
I guess you could put it that way. Whatever.
But being nice helps for sure.
Oh yeah. Like I want someone who's nice to other people.
So then, why do you think a lot of guys? Well, not a lot of guys, but why do you think a lot of the guys that are coaches are telling guys to be like, okay, treat her like an asshole, then be nice to her?
Okay, well that's totally fine for some people, but that's a complete turn off for me. If a guy even gives me a hint of like, oh, I'm not really into you. Some people like the chase. I don't. If someone's like, yeah, you're cute, but I can't. Shut up. Literally.
Right.
Okay, fine. I will.
Find someone else.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't like that.
So that doesn't
acting
work for you.
Uninterested. That's not attractive.
Biggest turn off. That's a turn off for you, I guess.
Yeah.
What about guys that listen to Andrew Tate?
I would never even consider having a conversation with one of them. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
What if you found out later on, like 2 months in?
Okay. Well, I've talked to guys. Well, no, I've listened to Andrew Tate just because I'm interested to see what the guy has to say. And honestly, he's pretty entertaining. I don't think I'd take anything he says seriously.
Exactly.
But if I were to meet somebody who did take him seriously, I don't think, even if I didn't know he listened to it, I'd be able to tell.
Right.
You know, he'd probably not be very smart. He'd probably be a little bit rude, maybe a little bit homophobic or something like that.
Right.
And I could probably just be like, you know what, I'm not really all that into that, you know. So I think that would be just a
automatically
yeah,
no.
okay.
You're not even entertaining it. Even if he was like, what about all the qualities you list in like the guy, your type of guy?
Yeah.
But he has that one where like, you know, what if he's like you too, where he's like, he doesn't listen to all of Andrew Tate, but he listens to like 2% of what he says.
Okay, well, if he's smart, kind, intelligent, witty, confident,
driven.
all of this stuff. If he's
About that, guys. There was just this guy harassing Bella, and I had to go beat his ass and put him in his place.
yeah, he did.
You know how we
You
do
should
it.
have seen it.
Right. I was like, bow, bow. You stay there. And then
And I was like,
right.
thank you.
Stay in the line. Let me put you on my Snapchat so all the girls can add you. And I was like, don't worry about it, Bella. Don't worry about it. I'm the man of the people, you know? I do this because I'm a humble Christian, Jesus Christ loving man.
Right.
And
I don't believe that, but okay.
Oh no, of course. I'm like the Jackie Chan of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, what do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years.
2027.
2027. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I think I want to be in a movie, if not multiple. Not multiple magazine covers. If not, you know, as long as I'm doing well, I'm financially stable, I'm happy.
Right.
Yeah.
What, do you have like a magazine cover you have in mind, like Vogue or?
You know what would be sick is Sports Illustrated, but I think I might have to get a boob job before that.
Really?
Probably. A little bit.
Sports Illustrated, why sports?
Well, long story short, basically, a certain somebody that I know has a Sports Illustrated calendar in their room, and I was
sick.
like,
I want to be on that.
yeah, I was like, well, I could be on that, whatever. So now I want to.
Not saying this is wrong, but I'm kind of surprised that you didn't have Playboy in there.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
What?
that doesn't really intrigue me all that much.
Well, what's wrong with Playboy?
There's nothing wrong with it. I think I'd just be more
He was
of
gone,
a...
so you don't have to worry about him.
I feel like I'd just be more of a Vogue girl. Yeah,
You hear what Drake said, you ain't model unless you've been in Vogue.
there you go.
So do you think that's an accurate statement or?
No.
No. Right, what does Drake know? Drake's just a random guy.
Yeah, he's
on
just
Degrassi.
a random guy. Yeah.
Has like one song.
Sucks, yeah. He's so dumb.
If Drake slid in your DMs, would you reply?
Would I reply?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
I
you,
think I probably
if you
would
flew you
reply.
out to Toronto? I asked a lot of girls this before, and you'd be surprised by the answer. So,
What would they say?
well, this one girl was like, "No, I wouldn't even open it. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't even know who Drake is." I was like, "Are you kidding?" It was like our age too. Like I'm talking
Okay,
about 20s.
I would reply. Would I go to Toronto?
If he flew
Probably
you
not.
out,
No.
what? If Drake
I don't know
flew
the
you-
man.
It's Drake.
Okay.
Like nothing bad's gonna go happen. He has everything to risk. You know. He doesn't want to
okay.
ruin his image, obviously.
Well, yeah, but he also hit on my roommate last year when
That's
I was in
awesome.
LA. Okay, yeah, but it's like she was like, yeah, he's cool. Like he invited her to his party and she was gonna bring me with her, but I didn't get to go because I didn't have a fake ID. And I was a minor, so I didn't go. She did. She said it was fun.
Come on. It's Drake though. He's telling you it's a 6 guy. It's Toronto, his home city. Well, you have
I've
to be an
been to
American.
Canada.
It's okay, but you haven't seen the Drake side of Canada.
I'm good.
You're not going to Canada.
I'm not going to Canada. Not with
Okay.
Drake, no.
What about Harry Styles?
No.
Really?
No.
So he offered to fly you out to wherever he's at. You're not going. So only if they come to you.
I don't want them coming to me either. Why are you trying to put me on celebrities? I don't really care for them all that much. If there was someone, this is why I told you I like meeting people. You know, like if I were to talk to Harry Styles, we're having a conversation. I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. Yeah, sure. But like, I don't know him. I know nothing about him. What if he's awkward? What if he's weird? Do you think I'd want to put myself in a position with somebody that I don't know?
I understand that, but like, since he's a public figure, wouldn't you want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's already a nice guy?
I mean, yeah, you can do that, but that doesn't mean I would. No.
No. What about Michael B. Jordan? Last one.
He's beautiful, but no.
Wow, that's tough. That's pretty tough.
What can I say? I'm just.
She's a catch, guys. She's a catch.
Other girl.
Well, thank you so much, Bella, for coming on. You've been an amazing guest.
You're so very welcome.
I really appreciate it. All of her socials will be in below. Make sure to follow her. Anything you want to say before we leave? Oh, wait. Fuck. What's the biggest L you've taken this year?
What's the biggest L I've taken this year?
Yeah.
I don't take L's.
That's cap.
No, I don't.
You didn't get swerved by a guy once? Nope, not at all. You didn't
No
get broken
L's.
up with?
No L's.
Nothing? You didn't lose money on a certain thing?
No
You
L's.
regret it?
No.
You didn't get snubbed by some modeling agency? They're like, well, come out to Miami. And then they're like, yeet, last minute.
No.
None of that happened?
No.
Let's see.
I don't believe in taking L's.
You didn't take a prom you didn't take an L at prom?
Mm-mm.
Nothing? Nothing.
No.
You can't even think of one.
No. What's the biggest L you've taken?
I don't want to say it on here.
Okay.
I'll say it on here, but I need a lot more likes, guys. If we get...
Just like this video, and then the next one, he'll explain.
Yeah, I'll start off the video. If we get 20 likes, I'll say my biggest L in the next
20?
pocket. Yeah.
Y'all can do it. You can do it.
Yeah. But either way, thank you guys thank you, Bella, so much for coming on and taking time for this.
Absolutely.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment on something funny that Bella said, and peace.